All right, welcome to a continuation of my series of videos on how to get better together. I want to do something a little bit different. And you might notice we're looking at a picture of the pit. If I show this picture, pretty much anybody who's played a game in the last 20 years recognizes this in some sense because you can't get away from the pit. It is iconic in a ton of ways. But if I show this picture, it's still the pit, but you might not recognize it as much. So what I want to do in this video is talk about probably one of the most important things really in all of Halo, which is openers. I want to make an entire series of videos on how to open on maps, how your opening changes essentially the outcome of that match. And we're just going to do some examples. So I have some videos queued up. We're going to look at some. I want to talk through some theory, show off this little kind of top-down view, and talk about kind of all the differences between all the game types. This is me exploring the space a little bit. So we put on a little bit of chill music in the background. Thank you, Lo-Fi. Just have that running. We're just going to talk through some openings, look at some cool stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So let me jump over to my little window here again. So if you don't recognize it, this is the pit. So you can kind of see the towers over here. This is sword. Oops, I grabbed my whole browser and dragged it away. Let me not do that. This is the sword room over here. So the sword room's kind of off to the side. If I put it right on top, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So yeah. Also shout out to, I don't know how you say your name. Chris? Do you say Chris Answer? There's an 8 in there. You helped me upscale all of these images and make them look really pretty. Thank you. So shout out to you. I know you said you didn't want any credit. I'm giving you credit. Okay. So that's all my setup. I'm not going to do that every video, but now you have an idea of what we're looking at. So let me walk through what we're going to do. So I have red team, blue team. We have the map itself. We're going to talk about some of the most important things on every map. We're going to talk about openings. We're going to see them play out. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So every game type is a little bit different. So I do have, we can kind of change between game types. You can see up here, I have this slated for Slayer. We'll start with Slayer. We'll talk about that, and then we'll kind of shift things as we go. You may notice that by default, I've got my players here on both teams. You guys are just hanging out kind of right here on the plats, but that's not really, that's kind of MLG. So on MLG, you start up on the plats most of the time. So we're going to shift this, and we're going to basically pretend we're playing some social Slayer. So we're going to take this, we're going to move our team. This is not a perfect science, so bear with me. We're going to move our little players over here. We're going to get them grouped more likely where they'll spawn kind of in a 2x2 pattern right in this area. So a lot of people call this the first BR because it's the first BR where you spawn. Second BR is over here. So I'm going to use a lot of words too. We can write down labels. I got all kinds of fun stuff we can do. So important to note, social team Slayer or team BR starts, doesn't matter. There's some things that are going to be out on the map, right? So we're going to have active camo that's out. And some of these I just use little generic logos. So oops, don't have to. We have an active camo that spawns in this hallway here. What else do we have? We have rockets that spawn in the hallway here. We have overshield, which is going to spawn all the way down here in the runway. And then we have the snipers, which spawn on both sides. Now there is technically a sword, so I can put the sword in there and we can pretend, hey, I messed up. My sword has a needler icon. Okay, I clearly put that wrong. A sword is not a needler, in case you don't know. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so these are kind of our main power-ups. The important thing in Halo and what really sets it apart from other games, I say it all the time that it's momentum-based, but we're kind of playing around these power weapons, right? So getting camo, getting rockets, remembering when we get them, because they spawn on set timers, all of that is important, right? So you need to know snipers, 2.5 minutes. You need to know active camo, 3 minutes. Rockets, 3 minutes. Really simple. Once someone picks them up, they're just automatically go on a timer. So as long as you memorize it, you know when the next one's going to spawn. I'm going to draw some paths, and we're going to play this out and pretend like these teams are playing against each other. So I hope you can kind of visualize what we're going for here. And like I said, we're going to look at some gameplay, and then I can kind of come back and we'll graph it and make it make sense. So we're going to pretend that our red team player here, our player 3, he's going to go right off the start, and they're going to go get the sniper. Player 4 here spawns in your shotgun, so they want to get that shotgun, and then they're going to go and contest rockets. Maybe these two players, maybe this player comes and helps with rockets, and this player comes and helps with camo. I would think this is like a normal opening. This is what I would expect to see kind of in most games. I know people are going to scream and cry and shout. I think this is like a pretty normal opening. It is different for everyone. Every team of 4 is going to play it different. This is kind of what I would expect. You're able to get the snipe. You're able to get the camo. There's usually almost always a 1v1 for camo here. There's almost always a 2v2 for rockets here. Some people pick up the needler. This is typically what plays out. Let's pretend on the other side that it's like relatively similar. I'm going to assume that someone always goes for sniper here, but I'm going to not draw it in such a horrible path. So you're gonna go down the ramp. There we go. Okay, you're gonna go get sniper. You will see people go up and grab the region first and jump. We're just kind of playing as we go. On this side, we're going to pretend that we have 2 people that go for camo this time. So maybe they just jump over and go for camo. And then we're just going to have one person kind of take the long way to rockets here. And I'm going to get text on my phone. So we're going to go and hit play. And then let's see what happens. So as we play through this, I'm actually going to reduce the speed a little bit. If we do this kind of opening. Oh my God, I just accidentally drew that person flying across the thing. Okay, hold on. Mr. 4. Mr. 4, go back. Hold on, reset. Okay, Mr. 4, you're actually going to go like this. I got to get a little bit more comfortable with this. Okay, so we're going to go, and we're going to play through like this. And right away from here, the people long haul, this is long haul, can see each other. And so typically there's some damage that takes place across here. Most people bounce a grenade in the camo hall. So in green, they'll bounce a nade against this wall onto the other player, and they'll kind of fight. And then as these people get to snipe, typically they will kind of try to exchange shots. Whoever gets there first is going to try to snipe the other player. And then it's kind of a movement from there. So if I imagine my player 3 here, player 3 from here is probably either going to go up to their sniper tower, or player 3 here is going to go down to overshield. And then similarly on this side, right? Imagine both people contest overshield. They're just going to continue fighting there. You may or may not lose your snipe. But this person may also come up and over the training and fight over the bridge in the middle. Totally possible. If this happens where you have this kind of mismatching of players in the middle of the hall, I pause the music. There we go. If we have this kind of mismatch of players that happens in the middle, I would typically expect someone to die. Right, so I'm going to say that this person dies, and I'm going to say that this person here is also going to die. Did it make you die? Yeah, it made you die. It's just hiding under my other label. Okay. So imagine where the game might go from here. And we can't play out the entire game for obvious reasons. We're just talking openers. Well, let's play that again. So we're going to go through. These 2 people are going to kill one red person. This person is going to die to these 2. And then it's a matter of, now where do you rotate from here? These 2 players on red team are probably going to get rockets and push through. And these 2 players on camo are probably going to push through to the other side. So let's continue with their pathing. And I'll speed it up when these paths get like particularly long. Don't worry, because this, you can imagine this takes a while. Okay, so now let's say that our red guys go through, and then our blue guy's dead. All right, so now we have one person on red going for overshield. We have this person up here who can kind of see down that, but not exactly. Let's play this back. Let's reset this and play this back. Kind of a fast run through here. This player is going to die. This blue person is dead, but my death label broke somehow. So we're just going to say you died. Hello? All right, he's dead. Just pretend he's dead. Okay. Now, how does the game shift from here based on how this went? It's totally possible these guys sniped each other and now someone's got to come back and pick up the snipe. So we're just kind of imagining we're playing around these things. Red team has rockets. Blue team has camo. I would say rockets are more important than camo. But you have two people that are kind of pushed through on both sides. Now, let's talk about spawning. If you've watched my video on spawning, you have a pretty decent idea of how this works, I hope. But it's important to know on the pit where the main spawn areas are. So I'm going to draw these as these spawn zones. So you have a main spawn right here next to the snipe tower. You're going to have that on both sides. Actually, I'm only going to draw it on one side. If I draw it somewhere, it's on both sides. You're going to have a spawn in the flag. You're going to have a spawn roughly around the shotgun area, right? It could be here. It could be inside a shotgun. It could be around here. But basically, it's kind of around this curve. And then you're going to have a spawn in green. And then if things are going really horrible for you, you might even be spawning up here in sword. Now, are there more spawns? Absolutely. There are spawns on top of the plat. There's spawns down here. But most of the time, you're going to spawn kind of in these edges. And so, if this red person dies to these two blue, and these two blue push through, and now these two reds in the bottom right near rockets have pushed out, since the red person here is in a safe zone, which is their whole side of the map, that's going to influence where this person spawns after he dies in camo. Really, really cool. So this person is most likely going to spawn down here next to number 3. And then likewise, when number 4 died at rockets because his sniper is here, it's possible he could spawn kind of in this similar area by snipe. He might also just spawn right back here, in which case he'd be 2v1'd again. This is a long time spent building up on this, but hopefully I'm kind of playing with the tools. Hopefully the idea makes sense. I'm just going to do the playthrough of this one more time. But we're going to be using these a bunch to talk about kind of all these paths, all this good stuff. Let me draw 4 going down here again. Let me put his death back on here. So we'll just play it through. Also note these people probably shot the barrels. Always shoot the barrels so you don't just die. And yeah. Now, I described this left side. I'm always going to say that the red, I'm just going to use red. I'm going to say red is right. It's not on the right side of the screen, but they're right in the sense that they are doing what I'm going to say is like the more normal quote unquote opener. And I've marked this person as dying here. You don't have to die. You could run away, but hey, we're just saying it's typically going to be 2 to rockets, 1 to green, 1 to snipe, and you go from there. Now, what I like to do sometimes is maybe instead of going to green and getting camo at all, maybe you just push over the training and help your snipe and kind of suppress this person. Totally normal play. Can't cover every single opening. Oh my god, there's way too many of them. I drew a death for you. No. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, like I said, we want to see some real world examples of this kind of opening play out. I should show real quick. I want to show other important things on the map, and then I'm going to show some real world examples, and we're going to get out of here so I don't drag this on way too long. I'm going to get kind of a natural pace as I do this more, but bear with me. I wanted to use the pit because everyone's played the pit. You guys can correct me, roast me with all the stuff that I'm doing wrong. I want to put down the flag. That didn't put down a flag at all. Stop doing deaths. Label. Put down my flag. Normally the flags would be spawning in here. So of course you play around these objectives. Imagine our same start plays out and we're not doing Slayer anymore. Now we're doing capture the flag, right? I'm just gonna randomly put flags out here. Okay. So imagine this plays out the exact same way, right? Who's in a better position to go for the flag now? Technically blue team is closer. They can go. I would argue that red team has a very good sight line of everything going on the other side of the map here. These two are going to come through, and what happens if the person that died here spawns in the shotgun? Well, now these two are going to try to run across and grab the flag, and they might be pinched between this snipe and then the person that respawns. These guys might also double back and just stop the two of them. You can't really tell, but I would typically think this kind of edge would be safer and capture the flag. In King of the Hill, I put a flag down again. I'll get used to this, I swear. Okay. In King of the Hill, well, in King of the Hill, I don't have one. Hold on. We'll make one. I thought I had a label for that. Get out of here, flag. In King of the Hill, you have 3 hills. 1, 2, 3. And they rotate in this order. So it's going to be mid. And that's going to come over here. And it's going to come over here. So it's going to go mid, red, blue. Just going to kind of rotate that way. Yeah, I mean, you're going to play around this with the same kind of openers that I mentioned. The opener really doesn't change, but I just wanted to call it out so you know what that hill rotation looks like. I'm going to include all of that each time too. What else do I want to think about? Race. Oh, I built race in here. You can't see it, but yeah, that's not really all that exciting. Assault. I don't think that changes the opener too much. So it's really kind of like a little bit of objective, a little bit of Slayer. All right. Like I said, I want to show a real example of these now. So these are the important things to know. I didn't talk about the sword that much. The sword really isn't that impactful on the pit. Sorry, guys. All right. So now I have a nice video here by TK. He's going to show essentially the same opener that I described before. So they shoot those barrels. You'll notice we have two people going towards rockets. We have one person that's going to jump over towards camo, and then we have one person that goes towards snipe. Can't really see it, but we can just look at the motion tracker and tell. So we've got these two. You can see they're taking some damage because they can already see each other. The person in camo, these guys nade each other. They're going to fight over this camo. Muffin Man is going to lose because he runs onto a snipe or onto a nade. Now, blue team kind of gave up rockets because they just weren't going to win that fight. So now he's come down here and they're together. They made the decision to double back. One person on red probably died in this fight. They probably took a trade. So now you got one red person over here weak with rockets who's going to die. Oh, there's the second person. So actually the other person died. I didn't know that. We'll take a little fight. We'll fight a little bit in the pit. Now we have rockets. So now we're in a really good position because we have rockets, we have camo. Our other teammate most likely has snipe. So awesome. Don't know anything about overshield yet. We'll play through a little bit more. And like I said, we're just going to look like the first little opening section of these. And I imagine this will get easier as time goes on. So there was our overshield guy. He jumped up and came up on the plat. Not on the plat, on the training. Now we're just fighting down here. Look at that nice long lead of a shot because lag was so bad back then. So now we have rockets. We have both snipes because they pushed with their snipe and died. This is an excellent opening. I already know they win this game. Let's see how much they win it by if we skip near the end. Yeah, 50 to 30. I mean, they had such a good opening. They really set themselves up. All right, now I'm going to show, this is, what is this? $2,500 kickback hardcore tournament. This was some throwback tournament they did. We're going to zoom forward. So let's see who we got. We got Ace, Nated, Tylenol Maniac, Nated, Goofy, Ryanoob, and Straight Six. So we're going to see the openings here. This is going to be hardcore. And like I mentioned, these guys are going to spawn on the plat. So if we think back here all the way to the beginning, instead of spawning here, instead they're going to spawn in a straight line. So it changes how you approach. Typically, people are going to run up on top of snipe because they're already up on the plat. And then you're still going to have the same contest. Hardcore changes things. So if I kind of reset everything, right? In hardcore, we shift and we have an overshield. It's really a custom that spawns down here. And then rockets, we move from long haul and we move it up to here in the middle. And then our snipers are still in the same area. So sniper. So because this top side of the map is now much more heavy with items and whatnot, we shift up that way. So typically pretty much nobody goes long haul unless they're trying to do some weird flank off the start, which, So typically more fights are going to happen around rockets, and then they're going to happen on this side near training because the snipes are going to be contested. Like, it's just going to be much more heavy towards this side. It's funny how just shifting things a little bit north change the way the map plays out. So we're going to see here. I'm going to expect most of the players to go this way. We have two on the other tower that are contesting that snipe. And then I'm assuming here on red side, we actually have three because one guy went training. He's going to help contest custom. So it's really kind of like a 1v1 for rockets. Remember in our previous scenario, it was 1v1 for camo. That didn't change too much. Yeah, we kind of see how they play out from here. So we'll see one person went down low to try to get the overshield. The person in green died, so now he's kind of jumping out. You can see on the side there. And he's trying to wrap around. Tell me where the person on red that just died spawned. Guess what? It's going to be right here next to them. And you could see his name pop up. right down there. All right, that's enough of the opening here. Now I want to just do, I don't know who Codester145 is, but I want to do what their opening is on this random King of the Hill game on the pit. So let's see what this is. So they're actually going to have, oh, they still had 2 people go. Let's see. They kind of have 3 go rockets. So if you have 3 people go rockets, that means you're sacrificing camo or snipe. Let's see. Oh, and they just YOLO charge into rockets. I don't typically recommend this, but you know, sure. I'm trying to zoom. There we go. So they charge through. They kill the other guy. They're just doing some nades. And it's funny, we're talking about this like openings, like ideal openings and what you would do, but you're just not going to get that every game. Like there's a wild difference between top 50 Slayer, hardcore, and then kind of your normal social gameplay. Notice nobody even really pushed through to get rockets yet. Camo, we just don't care about camo. We just skip that completely. Who don't even look, don't even check to see if it's there. Fuck it. And then under bridge, we don't look at their snipe. We look at our teammate who's dying down at overshield, but he actually got overshield and didn't die. And there's that hill, that's bottom mid that I mentioned. So I would say these guys had kind of a terrible opener, to be honest, but who knows? Maybe they go on to win. I probably, since they posted it. Yeah, it just goes to show how the openings kind of change the way the game plays out. And because there's so much momentum built into this game, like if you remember this game at the beginning of it, like as soon as the other team brought them snipe, like, what was it, right here under bridge? You have both snipers on your side. You have every power weapon because you had camo, overshield is gone. You have both snipes. They're on your side of the map. You just load your team up with all that. What is the other team going to do? BR you? You're just going to snipe them. You're just going to rocket them. It's really, really cool to see how much the opener changes things. And then similarly here, right? In this game, they lost rockets, but rockets aren't as good as snipe. So you can just typically snipe the rocket guy. They lost a teammate. They just circle back. It's, I don't know. It's probably one of my favorite parts of Halo is all of this strategy and how you can see it shift strictly based on the opener. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I have a bunch of these I plan to do. I was thinking about doing alphabetical, but the pit was just too good for me to not do. I have a map for assembly. Let me clear everything. Look, I've got this beautiful top-down view of assembly. I got blackout. Oh my god, blackout looks horrible in that play. Let's do something more normal. Guardian. Oh, look how good Guardian looks. We're going to talk about it. Oh, we're going to have so many good videos coming up. I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun making it. There's going to be, I just got to get a little bit more used. I'm probably going to add some things in here that I'm missing. Give me your feedback. How do you open on the pit? What would you change? Yeah. Look at this beautiful picture of the pit as we go out on the intro here. Intro, outro. I'm just vibing. I'm just having fun. I'm going to go play some Fiesta. Fiesta's rotated in on MCC right now. It's probably one of my favorites, so we're just going to go mess around, have some fun. I hope you're having fun with Halo. Reach out. I really enjoy talking about this stuff. What map should I do next? That's a great question. What map should I do next? What map do you want to see? I still want to do, people have talked about wanting to see hitboxes on elites. They've talked about wanting to see my similar video on hit registration for the sniper. Let's do it. Let's just have some fun. On to the next thing. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you.